Hello, beautiful people. Hi, 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 hi. Mhm. Okay, here we are on a moon day. Welcome everybody. Today is stormy weather in Cape Town. It is the first summer storm. So this moon day we're gonna talk about the Red Dakini Tantra, and mainly I really want to introduce a personal intensive that I'm running in March 2024, which is a culmination of a lot of passions that I have, not only the passion for Tantrism, but in specific the passion for the Red Dakini, and blending a lot of practices that really have formed me through the years into the one I am right now. And right now I realize I'm not really a teacher. Hey love, welcome. I'm a mystic. I'm a Dakini, I'm a catalyzer and initiator. And in all this year that I've been teaching, over 15 years, I've actually never created a teacher training. Bizarre. Of course my students have asked me. I don't know why, and I think because I don't have a set format that I use, and I don't want to form teachers that are leaning on the set format of practices that then they can repeat. I'm not interested in creating teachers like that. I'm interested in awakened human beings that are passionate about their own awakening. And in doing that, they awaken all the people that are joining them in their journey. And so I realized that more than a teacher training, I'm interested in unfold teachers in deeper places inside themselves. And for me, the piece is always to come and do the practice, but not in a way that I'm learning something that I'm about to teach. And I see this. Sometimes some of my students come and study with me for months or years, and I can see they are not dropping deep into the process because they are so busy remembering what we're doing so that they can teach it. So they approaching these practices as an object, and they're not entering it. They're not completely surrender themselves because their mind is constantly active in taking notes and already projecting in the future how they're gonna teach this or how amazing it's gonna be. And for me, these are not developed teacher, not the teacher that I would like to sit with because they haven't done the inner work. They take in a piece and they move it. And I don't have any practice that is mine, that I trademark, and I'm looking for mini-me's, little minion, that take the same piece and pass it on and glorify my teaching. That's, for me, it's absolutely ridiculous, irrelevant. It doesn't excite me at all. I really want to work with people that are willing to really go deep into themselves, and the practice become their lover. And when we make love fully, we're not taking notes for later. We are completely in it. And we allow this love affair to transform us, to grow us, to expand us, to make us understand more, to realize our own truth. And then when you have that peace, you will find way to teach from the deepest place of your own realization. And then that can look like a million ways. And you might not use any of the practices I use, because something spontaneously will arise in you, and those are your tools. And for me also, I teach the pieces that have deeply awakened me and touched me and seduced me. Of course, in 20 years of exploration, I've been exposed to so many practices. I never took any notes. Sometimes I regret it. It's like, shit. I went far and wide meeting these teachers that are not even teaching anymore. And I never took notes. I was fully there available, trusting that what it's landing in me, with what I remember, it's what I need to remember. That's my piece. That will be my teaching. That's what I'm teaching. What I remember, because that's the piece that really makes sense for me. And then I'm teaching from my own personal experience of expansion and awakening, not from my teacher experience. So in my journey, the Red Dakini has been a really powerful presence. My teacher, Daniel Odier, in the time I spent with him, spent a lot of time giving me transmission and meditation around the Red Dakini. And she became really an ally for me, a friend, a cohort. She really activated my understanding of the tantric philosophy. And that's why I bring this work and I name it the Dakini Tantra, because that's what's really activated me. And I might not do any meditation about the Dakini when we meet, but she is alive in me and moves me. And the things that seduce me the most of the Red Dakini, it's her red body. And her red body, naked red body, really represent the embodied passion of existence, of life force. Because if you think about it, our body, if we wouldn't have skin, and our skin have different shades of pink and brown, but if it would be removed of the skin, we would see the redness of the human body. The muscles are red and they are drenched in blood. And that reveals the living passion of the divine, the living passion that is gushing in our body, but we don't see. We embody it, we can feel it, we can take direction from. And the seed organ of this red passion is the heart, which is very red, throbbing, pumping, reminding us of the rhythm of life. And if we could see our naked, skinned body, we would see the movement of the pulsation of the blood gushing through the body and irrigating the body. And of course, The genital are red. The penis, when it becomes hard and throbbing, it's so red it becomes almost purple. And because of course a lot of blood is pumping there. And the yoni, it's many shades of red and brown and purple, sometimes even bluish purple, and also represent the throbbing opening of the heart. And these are the organs of our passion, living passion. And the passion of the Christ is his unwavering commitment to live for fierce love, burning love. I mean, Jesus was mad and passionately in love with love, so much so that he got himself killed, and he was ready to die for love. And one of the symbols of the passion of the Christ is the heart with the flame, the burning heart, and also the crown of thorns, which what it does, it pierces the skin and let the blood drop. So it reveals the inside to the outside. And the red Dakini often has the tongue out, and the tongue is red. And it's another passion, is speaking the passion of life, which is truth. That's fierce love, to have the courage of really always at any moment align with passionate truth, even if that means risking your life as you know it. And every time we speak the truth is a challenge, because truth can burn the house down. Are we ready to burn into the truth of love? And then there are different red Dakini, Vajra Yogini. Yogini and Dakini is an interchangeable words according to Hindu Tantra and Tibetan Tantra. Same expression of the embodied, incarnated, in the flesh, truth of life. She drinks from a skull, a human skull, and she drinks a brain. If you really look what's in the skull is a human brain. And she's there voraciously drinking this gushing blood of the brain. And what she's really representing, the symbol that she's embodying, that she swallowed the intellect, that she swallowed the concept of the mind, she swallowed all spiritual concept, and she takes it into the heart, into the body, into her yoni, and undulated and birth life as a movement, as an erotic movement of aliveness, not as a concept. There are no concepts. The Dakini is here to swallow all your concepts of right and wrong, of being spiritually advanced, of being a good teacher, of advancing in your spiritual practice, of becoming a master and a guru, of spirituality, of knowing your thirst for knowledge. She's going to swallow it. You have to let all of that go, because all of these are concept, ideas, and every idea about the mystery will hinder your communion with the mystery. The mystery requires no mind, full heart. And so this is one of my love affair with Tantrism, and really this ongoing love affair with the Red Dakini and all this teaching that she brings. And then in the beginning of my journey into Tantrism, I went to India training in classical Indian dance. About 20 years ago, it was, no, exactly 20 years ago, it was 2003. I can't believe it's 20 years, God. And this is, I went there because I was already into Tantrism and I was searching and exploring, and I was also a dancer. And I found a teacher in Italy, a classical Indian dance teacher. And then I found this Indian dance style called Odissi, which apparently was the tantric classical lineage of temple dancing. And so off I went to India in pursuit of understanding what that meant. And so I found I journey with the dance in the temple, with classical music, with the transmission of the Devadasi, the servant of God, the sacred erotic dancers of the temple. And I found this profound connection between the embodied eroticism of the body and all the tantric philosophy. And of course I had a lot of difficulty with the tradition of dance because it's very Puritan and denies the sexual awakening of the dancers. It's a little bit like Christianity, like the Mother of God had to be a virgin. All the spiritually empowered women in the history of religious lineage had to be virgin. And so it's the same in India, because remember, India was invaded by Britain, and the English Puritanism really canceled any trace of enlightened eroticism that was part of the temple culture. And so it's written in the book, it's visible in the temple, but of course people don't want to see it. It's so bizarre because it's everywhere. You just have to observe and then you know it, but there is a complete denial of that. And so of course I was a rebel, and I remember, running into the temple and crying for hours, sleeping in the tantric temples that are dark and dingy and full of rats and not glamorous and joyful and full of flowers. Because Tantrism also develops in the darkness of your sorrow. That's when the real question starts to come in the surface. And then I befriended a Brahmin that allowed me to do what I needed to do in the temple, and very quietly spied on me. I didn't even know he was there. And then one day he showed himself up, and he invited me to visit. He invited me to visit some tantric temple with him, and so my exploration deepened, and he initiated me in tradition, stories, and he took me to the 64 Yogini temple in Hirapur, when the place wasn't yet so famous. And anyway, and so on and so forth. But in those days I was already living in South Africa. I was coming in India and coming back to South Africa, and I was a physical performer and a dancer. And so the dance influenced me so deeply that I started to paint myself blue and dance like a Shakti in the temple, and dance like a Devadasi, embodying the divine dancer, the erotic dancer of the temple, the Shakti. And so my body was fully blue, and I was decorated with crowns and jewels like goddesses are. And like this I performed for many, many years. I was known as the Blue Lady. And this practice awakened something really fundamental in my being, in the understanding of Tantrism, which is bypassed my intellect and was immediate into my archetypal embodiment. And when I met the Tandava, again I met this blue color which Matsyendranath brings a lot in his meditation, the the colors are really important to visualize color because they evoke archetypal state of being. And the color blue is the color of the sky, which is unbounded and free, and is the color of the vast emptiness of the sky. So when we paint our body with blue, this beautiful indigo blue that I found is the color of Shiva, we become vast and endless like the sky, which is another word for divine, infinite. And that's what Shiva is, pure consciousness. And in the Tandava meditation, we imagine ourselves naked, blue, of the same color of the midnight sky, and we become space. And all this color in the body break away from our identity of being a human being with a linear life where we do things, and explode our embodiment into the mystery of reality moving through our embodiment, our bone, our muscle, our cell, our vision, an awakened, enlightened vision, creative thinking, supple emotion. And we become artists, and not of painting on paper, but of painting on our experience of being alive. And so these elements were being so big and important in my development that I always had this dream to bring this retreat called the Red Dakini Tantra. I had this in mind very strongly, and gather people that wanted to journey with me through these phases of embodiment. And of course I also had a phase where I went through an abortion, and very recent in my time, I was 47, and I was able to really enter the depth of the darkness of dying while living. And I journey with Chamunda. Chamunda is at the door of the 64 Yogini temple. She's at the door, she's sitting, she's not dancing, she's not voluptuous and young and expressing this young eroticism, but she's really old, really ancient and skinny, is a skeleton with really saggy breasts. And she's often decorated with red tilak, and the Brahmin would put red in her hand and feet, and red hibiscus, and the red really spark out of the darkness of her embodiment. And she sits onto the body of a dead fetus. And so this was my meditation around that. And so when I went through that initiation, I painted myself also black, and I went into also that dark space of dissolving the body. There is no one here, there is just the pulsating mystery. And so I wanted to take women. Originally I thought of women into this journey with me, completely spontaneous and intuitive. Sure, the storm is really strong, I hope you can hear me. Let me know if he's really disturbed. And then I couldn't put together this retreat because it was another retreat. It was a linear process with a beginning and an end, taking a group of women into a journey, coming to session, having a pause, having meals, having to organize a caterer, having to organize accommodation. And I went, fuck this, thank you. And I don't want to do this. This is structure. So I want to do a retreat about the Red Yogini, about the Dakini of immediacy, and I'm creating structure. The Yogini came to me, just vomited on me and told me, what the fuck are you doing? You are exploiting me. You are using me. This is not my way. Forget about it. Just throw everything away and think it differently. And so I canceled, and this wasn't going to happen. And then it arose for me that the way I want to work with this Dakini embodiment is with a very small group of seeker of truth, of people that have been already initiated, that have done the journey, of awakening, and they've been walking in the world, bringing the awakening into their life. People that are dedicating their life to this, mystics like me, that are in love with love, that are in love with this movement and this transmission, and we can only but submit to it. And so together we gather for a week with absolute no program, with absolute no schedule. We throw it all away, and we trust that every moment, I trust that every moment will direct me where we need to move towards. And this possibility of painting our body like I did is there, if the moment calls for it, if it's appropriate. And maybe the 3, 4, 5, 6 people that we are there, we are not moving at the same time. Maybe we're not moving as a group. How wonderful, how liberating. Maybe one of us needs to go into silence for a couple of days. Maybe one of us needs to go and sleep in the forest for 24 hours. Maybe one of us needs to be blue, and one of us needs to be black. And I really feel super ready to meet you in the creativity of my spiritual journey. It's going to become a laboratory. I called it a spiritual laboratory, to unravel the artistry of being alive. And life, it's really a theater. And the Indian pantheon, I mean, it's an absolute theatrical performance. All the story of the Hindu divinity, it's so theatrical. Theater really bring out the invisible to be seen, received, processed, swallowed. Because theater really needs the embodiment, the sound of the voice. And so we're gonna improvise. It's like a theatrical laboratory, and we are all dancer, musician, poet, performers, spiritual, visionary, and we'll see what the moment is gonna invite us into. And so the minimum number of people is 3, just to financially make it work, so we can have this beautiful venue that it's there for 12 people, but we're not gonna pack it up. We're gonna have a lot of space to dwell in, so that we can find our space. And also my intention is to invite the people that are also tired of spiritual advancement. And this is part of a process, you know, when we begin, we want to get better, we want to do more, we want to learn this practice, that practice. We want to become like this teacher and that teacher. There is something on the outside that constantly pulls us towards something out there, until we've walked this path enough to realize that really there is no one out there that can unravel myself as much as I can do it for myself. And then there is this moment where we become tired to add on another technique, another practice, another meditation, always hoping that it will be the one that does something to me. And if you're becoming tired of doing that, you're the perfect candidate to come join me, because I don't want to add on to you and your embodiment. I want to take out and really help you to reveal the mystery that is already alive and thriving and quivering in your being. We're taking layers off. And so we're all going to be naked for 6 days. We're going to meet in South Africa, where it's going to be summer and beautiful. And so naked for 6 days. When we arrive, we're going to burn our garment. Really burn our garment. We're not going to leave as we arrive, for sure. And then if it's cold, we will have blanket, and that's it. And as much as we can meet that, the invitation is to sleep on the ground with simplicity, to go back to basic, really going back to basic, into the devotion to love, to take love as our guru, love as this entity that keep bringing energy to this world, into what we know it as existence, life force, my erotic response to life, and see what love wants from me, from us. How love wants to be served by me. How love wants to be loved by me. And the courage to answer a different call, to be different. And so I feel also the number 3 as the minimum number of participants create a dynamic triad. And sometime we will need to be alone, and so we will do that. Sometime we will need silence. Maybe we'll need to do some fasting. And we won't be afraid to go there. I will meet each and every one of you exactly where you need to be. And I'm not afraid. That's all I can bring to you. I'm not afraid of the depth. I'm not afraid of your darkness. I'm not afraid of your fear. I'm not afraid of your sexual beast. I'm not afraid of your erotic shadow. I'm not afraid of anything you might be afraid of. Because I've journeyed through all of that for myself. And I'm not afraid of unraveling through humanity and real intimacy. To the contrary, it excites me terribly. That's why I know this is my true dharma. This is my calling. To sit in the emptiness with you. Because when I was afraid, in the time I was afraid, in the 20 years I've been teaching, I would do a lot of teaching. And I would fill the space with a lot of practices because I was afraid of the empty spaces. I was afraid that maybe you wouldn't receive your awakening. And I was afraid that you may not like me. That you may not revere me. And a lot of this is gone from me now. And I am more afraid to miss the moment of alignment and true dharma coming into me than you not liking me, or you being bored, or you questioning everything that I'm doing. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid to be bored. I'm not afraid of disappointing you. Because I know that beyond all of this, it's true freedom. There is a pearl beyond your boredom, beyond your irritation, to me, your judgment, to the event or the process or whatever is happening. Those are just resistance, more resistance. And so if I irritate you, great. I'm gonna make sure I do that properly. And I give you more of that. So, if anybody listening is considering coming and has any question for me, you want to ask me, I'd be delighted to answer you. So I have 3 students that are express committed interest to come and join me. So the intensive is ready to happen, even if it's just 3. But there is space for 3 more. So really feel into that. If you Nunu, yes, but I'm here right now. You can ask me anything you want right now. And this is the first challenge. Whatever is your inquiry could be a beautiful inspiration for anybody else that is listening. And maybe my answer can be pertinent for other practitioners that are listening. And so instead of taking this inquiry privately, let's have it publicly. This is a very important piece of my teaching, that every time we take things privately, there is a quality of hiding. And I'm always curious why we take it away when we could offer it to everybody. That's why I invite people to make love in public and be seen. And I think this is the greatest medicine we can offer each other, is to stop taking our most beautiful aspect of ourselves away from our community, when everybody could benefit from the love that is shared. Yes. So bring your question, bring your inquiry. Really available for some inputs. So while you're thinking about, okay, it's okay, we can talk about logistics. What would you like to know about logistics? Maybe other people wants to know too. What is the difference between the red paint and then the blue painted Dakinis? I spoke about it already a little bit. Maybe you logged in a little later, Kirsty. First of all, the yogini are not painted. We paint ourselves to mimic, to enter the archetype. But yes, the red represents the passion of embodiment. When the body is skinned, the skin is taken away, the human body, it's red, pulsating and throbbing blood. The muscles are wet by blood. The red organs of life, that is the most important from the tantric perspective, which is the heart, it's red. And so the red Dakini is a living, throbbing, passionate heart. And she represents the absolute embodiment in the passion of loving with my humanity. That being human is an act of love. That is not a problem or something to fix or to better. And the blue represents the sky, the pure vastness of the open space. It represents that you are the body of the cosmos. Shiva is blue and is the body of reality in his empty expression. The red is the embodiment, and the blue is identifying the human essence with the body of the cosmos. And so all the divinity in India are blue, the Shakti, Shiva, Krishna, Rama, because they represent the identification with the body of reality in its expression of empty consciousness. So the date has been settled at the beginning of March, from the 7th to the 13th of March. And the costs are on the website is 1,900 euro and 30,000 rand for South African residents and a resident of country with very weak currency like South Africa or Turkey or the Middle East. Yes, we meet in Cape Town and we can go together to the venue. This we'll see once everybody sign up. We lift share with the other participants, but the idea, yes, we move together as a small group. And we'll stop at the shop, we buy what we like to eat, so we all cater for our own needs. No one is taking care for us. If you like to eat meat, we buy meat. If you're a vegan, you buy vegan things. If you want to drink cacao, we buy the cacao. And we move as a small family of crazy seeker of truth. And so it's very tailored for our human dimension. Yeah. So some people are local. We will be able to support the international more. If you need a yoga mat or, we will support you. We will talk more closer to the time and what you need from us. And then we all bring what we like. We buy popcorns. If we like to have popcorn nights, we're going to have movie nights. I always love to bring a specific movie to watch together, maybe while we massage each other in the nude. We will engage in... No, I'm not going to do one in Europe so you can attend, Kirsty, because all the people, they say that don't come when I do. All the people, they say, oh, amazing, I love what you do, come do it here. And then I go over there, oh, they're busy, they're doing something else. Tantra, you have to commit to the journey towards that. It's not going to come to your doorstep. It's not going to be easy. If it's easy, it's not challenging enough for you. And if it's easy, it's not shaking you in your armoring, in your habit that hides the resistance to real change. And so we want it easy, we want it as I like it. Yeah, other teacher can do that. I'm sure there is plenty other teacher that can do that. I choose not to do that any longer. I really want people to make an extra commitment to make a journey toward what they really love. Like I did. I made a lot of journey. I traveled far and wide, even in the time before internet and WhatsApp, when things weren't so easy. it's the pilgrimage. You have to go into a pilgrimage, and it doesn't matter where you go, the pilgrimage is always inside. You are telling to reality how much you want to realize the truth of your own heart, of your own self, of your own embodiment. And as further as you go, as much challenging, costly, also money is just a symbol. If it's challenging to pay the money, good, because it means you're gonna really come thirsty and get everything out of it. And I want that from you. I want you to come and ask everything of me. Really drink me up, demand things from me. Don't come and sit back and see whatever is happening. I'm available. No, come commitment, come with question, come with an inquiry that is burning you. I want to show up for that. I want to meet you there. Not in the whatever, oh, this is lovely, it's just another retreat. Well, we're all happy and joyful. So I don't guarantee joy neither. You might not going to be happy, but it's going to be truth. That's why you need to be well seasoned, that you're not expecting just happy, joyful things, but you're expecting truth, and you're willing to go through the fucking fire, because I want to take you there. And on the other side, there is true freedom. Revisiting Rahasya after the retreat? Yeah, or before. Absolutely. Either way would work. I think it's beautiful. This is a dream we've been having for a long time. I think South Africa and around the Western Cape, we are full of amazing teachers that are really working in the deep and not in the surface fluffy Tantra, but in the dark Tantra. And so to do a tour, spend some time with me, go with Rahasya. There is also Kali Satyagraha that teaches in Baridale. There is Saitsu that teaches in Stanford. We're all in the same area. You could do the tantric tour. Stays as long as you can, Nunu. Your visa will be 3 months. I recommend 1 month at least, because this land is really, really rich also. And you will find a lot of way to moves here. And we can, I would say, check with Rahasya about timing, what works for him, and then we can fine tune it. Yay. So I think it's time to wrap up, unless anybody has another question. Thank you, Kirsty, for your question, because it brought up this beautiful piece that I wanted to speak. So, I get passionate. Thank you for challenging me. That's what I love. I want students that will challenge me and activate my fire also. I don't want to be politically correct. I am not PC in my teaching. I am wild. I'm responding to the Dakini that is burning in me. I'm committed to truth, and truth will burn the house down before it gives you everything you're looking for. And so, blessing, Kirsty. So I get this a lot, and I am not that teacher. I'm also settling and realizing that's why I'm not a good teacher for beginner like Rahasya, because I'll burn your house down. And you need to have some tools already developed in how to rebuild yourself or to realize that your house is not so important, that whatever is burning, it's what needs to go. And I am actually doing a favor, even if you're gonna resist me terribly at the beginning. Yeah. And also, when you come with a really strong inquiry, you make sure that this journey is going to take you where you need to go. It's not for me to decide, oh, I like to take you there. What do I know? I know nothing. You come, you sit in front of me, and you're going to have the ability to tell me your truth and your true desire. What do you really, really want? You came all this way, you spent all this money. Here you are now, you're sitting in front of the Dakini. What do you want from her? Because she can either make love to you or swallow you. And if you can speak what you really want, chances are that she takes you in her body, she makes love with you and take you through the bliss, because you are already well developed in the courage to ask, to existence, to risk, to ask what you really, really desire, your deepest heart desire. That is advanced practice, because we are terrified by our true heart desire, the majority of us. And if you can't speak about what you want, archetypally, the Dakini will kill you and eat you, swallow you through her mouth. Archetypally, this is how you go and meet the Dakini. Either she takes you in through her yoni or in through the mouth. Either you find the bliss of the embodiment of reality, or she'll just kill you directly and swallow you and brings terror to you, and you die of terror. Either way is the same thing, because when you die of terror, you have an opportunity to really awaken to the truth, because terror will shatter you, shatter all idea of who you are, and you can come back in your next life with 100 gold star. Really advanced. Your next embodiment will be really advanced. And either way, you enter the body of reality, through awakening or through dying. Same things. Either way, you have to be ready and prepared to give your life. This is the level of commitment I like to work with. To give your life to your process and your awakening. Are you ready? Because that's deep love, that's fierce love. And it's not just a little bit of love, little bit of truth. Truth will come and burn up everything that is untrue. And so archetypally, the Dakini, either way, will advance you. If not in this life, in the next one. Yes, of course, it's really necessary. The video requirement is the moment that you're going to sit with yourself and you go over all your insecurity, and you're going to have to say, why are you called to this work? What do you really want? And it is absolutely necessary, yes. Because it will be necessary for you, not for me. It will be necessary for you to start channeling this transmission, because the Dakini is not me, right? There is a Dakini that is answering your call, and she's gonna come through me, but it's not me, it's not my ego. But you need to start calling her, Nunu. And by doing the video, you start opening this channel. So put the camera on like I'm doing a live, and just pour your heart over. And the messier you are, the better it is. Don't try to be nice. Don't try to seduce me. Don't try to do it nice for me. I don't exist. There's no one on the other side of your recording the video. So just put it, open the camera and speak it up. And if you want to even challenge yourself even further, do it in the nude. And really break through this barrier. What this woman is going to think of me. Who cares? Bring your heart in your hand and offer me your heart. Offer me your deepest desire. Offer me your quest for truth. This you bring to the altar of the Dakini, which I temporarily represent. I'm just a symbol. Like every spiritual teacher is just a symbol to truth. It's really hard to bow to the invisible and to submit to the nothingness and the mystery. And so we have spiritual teacher, we have guru, we have iconography, we have the images like the Dakini and the Murti, but they're just symbol. So right now I am that symbol for you, and whatever intimidates you in this process, bring it on. That's your medicine. And so if you are intimidated, enter through devotion, bow, cry, show me your intimidation and your fear. Sit with that. You don't have to say anything, and sit in the tenderness of being intimidated. It means there is a quivering, there is a trepidation happening, there is a knowing of an approaching breakthrough. And so that's what I'm after, that's what I'm cultivating. That's when I ask you to make a video. I want you to go through that fire for you. I think my phone is also about to die. Its battery is about to die. So when it goes, maybe it's my cue. I'll just disappear. I was never here. Thank you for bringing yourself. When you really bring yourself with your inquiry, you see, I go on fire, and I that's the best aspect of my being, actually. That's the best part of me. So thank you for activating this fiery Dakini that lives inside of me. Yeah, enter the fire. What else there is in this life? What are we living for? If you call yourself a tantric, Tantra, ask of this. Because living a life where your heart is not on fire is not living, is it? It's complying. There is more. There is more. And if you are on this call, and if you're feeling this Dakini, this red yogini calling for you, you have this fire bubbling in your being. I'll be my honor to be that flame that ignites this bonfire in your heart, and let it burn for the rest of your life, and walk into this life really living, burning with love. Not this romantic love, this polite love, this politically complacent love that doesn't want to hurt anybody. You just hurt yourself when you live like this. I'm interested in people that are feeling this call in their heart and want to burn the fucking house down. And what's beyond it? What's on the other side of conformity and perfection and doing it right? The wild Dakini, naked, dancing in the forest. And we will do this. We will go in the forest naked for 24 hours maybe, in silence. We will make love to the wind, to the earth, to the night. We will really go into this so-called tantric extreme practice, which are just practice of having a love affair with nature, with reality in the most wildest form. And this is what the majority of us are really afraid of. If you're born in the city and if you live in the city, you're actually afraid of nature, the power of nature. Not nature when she served me the way I wanted, But when she's just wild, like this crazy wind. I was thinking today, this raining wild and it's windy. If we were at the intensive now, we would go out, running naked, dancing in the wind, with the rain, drinking the rain, self-pleasuring in the rain, making love with the wetness of reality. When the rain comes, these are the erotic juice of reality. And we would respond to this invitation and go out in our wildness, into the mud, into the wet earth, and smell it, penetrate it in our love making. Offering your seeds to the earth, to the tree. And also into the night, we make love with the star. Have you ever offered your pleasure alone in the darkness of the night to the nighttime beings? Your erotic honesty, your innocent eroticism, making love to the silent of the night, literally making love. This is my invitation, and it's gonna be completely unhinged. So don't come if you expect me to take care of you, because you're not a child, you're a mature human being, and you're ready for your eldership, and you can take care of yourself. And together we journey like mature beings, where we don't have to play small for each other, but we're gonna offer each other our unhindered freedom, the ability to really drop in my maturity, spiritual maturity, erotic maturity, which means I take responsibility for my process and my desire. Yay! Bring that. That's a full yes. If you're feeling a little bit scared and worried, not this time. Maybe in 6 months, in a year time, in 2 years time. I'll be here. Okay, beloved, I'm ranting now. I'm so turned on. Come join me, Red Dakini Tantra, 7 to 13 of March in beautiful South Africa. After the 15th of February, also the flight gets cheaper. It's over the summer season. The weather is amazing. March and April is the best weather in South Africa. And Africa has this wildness. The nature is strong, is calling you, it's got this immediacy. It's not Europe, it's Africa. Maybe only if you live in Australia and New Zealand you understand the quality. But I think Africa is even wilder than New Zealand. So the earth is really alive, the sky is big, the nature is vast, the wind is revolutionary. It's not a little breeze, it's big, it's strong. Nature is in its full potency. Come find me here. I want to evoke your full potency. I want to undress you and reveal you in your untamed, naked, revolutionary fire. Yeah, come to the motherland. I love you. Ciao, ciao.